If you're using a mirrorless camera, you might assume you need a studio-style microphone to get good spoken word audio. But if you also need a wireless microphone, that shouldn't automatically mean that you need to settle for tiny mic sound. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use the Maono PD200W microphone connected wirelessly to a mirrorless camera using the optional 3.5mm TRS camera receiver. I'm using a Canon R6, but the setup applies to most mirrorless cameras with a microphone input. Now, I was sent the Maono PD200W hybrid wireless dynamic microphone to test, but in this video I focus on one thing only: getting clean usable audio from the Maono PD200W into a mirrorless camera. To use the Maono PD200W with a mirrorless camera, you'll need three things: the Maono PD200W microphone, the Maono 3.5mm TRS camera receiver, and a camera with a 3.5mm microphone input. In fact, it could be any camera or camcorder with a 3.5mm TRS audio input. You don't use the USB-C receiver that comes with the microphone. For mirrorless cameras, the 3.5mm TRS receiver is required and it's sold separately. Now let's get this up and running. Although you can set up the receiver to work with two PD200W microphones or a PD200W and a T1 lavalier microphone, I'm not going to cover that here. This is a one mic setup. First, mount the camera receiver on the camera hot shoe. Slip the mounting foot on the receiver into the hot shoe and it should stay snugly in place. Next, use the coiled lead that came with the receiver and plug one end into the 3.5mm output on the receiver and plug the other end into the microphone input on the camera. Press and hold the small power button on the receiver for 2 seconds. You should see a couple of LEDs light up and start flashing on the top of the unit. Then turn on the microphone by pressing and holding the power button on the base of the microphone for 6 seconds. The mic and receiver should pair. You will know that they've paired when the halo light around the microphone's control knob starts flashing blue. Pairing is a one-time process. Once paired, the microphone reconnects automatically when both units are powered on by pressing the power button and holding for 2 seconds. Now, if they don't pair, check that both units are fully charged and that the receiver was powered on and that you pressed and held the microphone's power button from the power off state. Your PD200W and the receiver should now be paired. If your camera is turned on, you should see the camera's audio levels move when you speak into the microphone. Finally, there's a 3-position switch on the side of the receiver. Those positions are mono when you're recording with just one microphone, stereo, use that if you're linking 2 microphones, and finally mono with safety track. If you don't want to do any audio post-production, then choose mono and your audio level will be the same on the left and right channels. However, if you are prepared to work on your audio in post-production, then use mono with safety track. The safety track records a second mono channel at a lower level, which protects against clipping if your main level is too high. That way, if you've set your gain slightly too high, or if you have an occasional spike in the level, you can use the safety track because it has more headroom. The camera settings are the next thing to get right, and in fact, this is where most people go wrong. On the Canon R6, I disable auto audio levels and switch to manual gain. This gives me full control of the camera's recording gain level. This is important because often camera mic preamps are not high grade. To get the best performance, I set the camera input level to low at about 25%, and I let the wireless system do the hard work. If your camera gain is too high, the camera's own preamps can introduce a little hiss or self-noise. Alternatively, high camera gain means you've set the audio gain too low on the microphone. So again, you'll be amplifying a low audio signal and noise, and you don't want that. Wireless microphones perform best when they provide a strong, clean audio signal, so the camera's preamps do not need to boost the gain and potentially introduce their own self-noise. Go into your camera's mic audio level screen and speak at your normal volume. Watch those meters. Use the gain knob on the top of the microphone to adjust the level. Adjust the mic gain until the audio peaks at around -12 dB. You want a strong signal without hitting the red. Ease back the mic gain at that point. Finally, do not set your level at your normal speaking volume and then shout or speak in a really loud and excited level once you start recording. When you set your gain in your test, speak the way that you're going to speak in the recording. For spoken word recordings, place the end of the microphone about 4 to 8 inches from your mouth. The PD200W is an end address microphone, so you speak into the end and not the side. The microphone comes with a pillar desktop stand, so go ahead and mount the microphone on this stand if you don't have a floor stand or a boom arm stand. Close placement of the microphone gives you better voice clarity and less background noise. As you move further away, the system still works, but room sound becomes more noticeable. That's because as you move away from the microphone, you need to increase the mic gain. Although that brings your voice level back up, it also makes the background noise louder. Increasing distance always increases room sound, regardless of whether the microphone is wired or wireless. When set up correctly, the Maono PD200W provides clean, usable wireless audio directly into a mirrorless camera. The key is getting the optional 3.5mm TRS receiver and setting your camera and mic gain properly. If you'd like to get this microphone and the correct receiver for your camera, then I'll drop a link in the description and pinned comment. Links are included for transparency, and it also supports this channel, although you don't pay any extra. I'm also testing this system in different rooms, at distance, and through walls to see how well the system performs and what those limits are. Because if you stay on the safe side of those limits, you should always get the best performance. Subscribe if you want real-world audio tests and not marketing claims. In the meantime, you should love the videos over here. Thanks for watching.